Hello everybody. Hello YouTube. Hello art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M. And I'm back with yet another video. Today, what am I going to do today? I'm going to slowly get back into doing videos about The Shining. Today I decided to do a top 15 video. I don't even know if top 15 videos are a thing. I've seen top 10s, I've seen top 5s, but never top 15s. But I'm going to go ahead and try it out. So I'm going to do like top 15 iconic moments from The Shining. And I'm going to, of course, talk about them in the context of the way I analyze this movie. Not anybody else, just me, just my opinion, Miss M. So top 15 most iconic moments of The Shining and what they really mean. That's what we're going to talk about today. So there's 15 of them, and you know I'm going to spend at least a little while on each of them, so this might become a long video. I'm not sure. Might be time for you to fire up the percolator. Who knows? So let me do my church announcements and we'll get right into it. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. If you know anybody who might enjoy this, the likes and the comments and the interaction is what helps keep me going. I'm not quite at 1,000 yet. I don't know when I will be, but I'm working towards it. Please help me get to that goal. I really do enjoy doing these videos, and I enjoy the interaction, and I enjoy the fact that there's actually people who are interested in this topic and want to learn more about it. So there's that. Okay, so like I said, fire up the percolator. And somebody asked in one of the comments recently, like, whether or not one of my videos, like when I do a viewer mail or whatever, is it a coffee video? Like, basically at this point, all of my videos are coffee videos. I expect you to have a cup of coffee when you're watching any and all of my videos. So it's a coffee break by default when I'm doing any of these. So yes, please fire up the percolator. Don't waste any time doing this. And also, before I get into it, I'll get into it in a minute. This goes out to one of my best buds on here on YouTube and social media and the internets, Richard, Tankard of Tales. You guys, please go to his channel and watch all of his videos and etc., and so on and so forth. Like, comment, and subscribe to his channel. He's celebrating something pretty big that happened recently within the last couple of days. He's very tired. Of course he is, because him and his wife just welcomed 2 adorable baby girls into this world. So please go and congratulate him and say hey to Richard at his channel, Tankard of Tales. He's one of my good friends here in my endeavors on YouTube. He's one of the wonderful people I've met doing this. So congratulations, Richard and Mrs. Richard. I wish you guys all the best. I wish the new babies all the best. I know you're exhausted. Try to get as much sleep as you can. Try to get as much rest as you can. Just take it easy, and congratulations. So you guys go over there, like I said, and show them some love. And that's that. This video is for you, Richard. Okay, so if you're tired, or you just want to like veg out on the couch or whatever after a long day of diapers and feedings and whatever, this is it. This is for you. For you to listen to when you're going about your business with the 2 adorable new little babies. So here it is, you guys. Top 15 most iconic moments from The Shining and what I believe they mean. The title is going to say and what they really mean, but what I believe they mean. Okay, so let me start with, Any of them. This is in no particular order. Okay, this is in no particular order. Um, check it out. Okay, this one. Yeah. There she is. There's Shelley. Nobody else could have played this role. I am more and more and more sure of that as time passes, as I look at this movie, and and I just think about the possibilities of other actresses having done this role. No, it had to be Shelley. It had to be Shelley. Stanley made a good choice. He could have chosen probably anybody, any of the like it girls at the time in the late 70s. No, he chose Shelley. And I can totally see why. So here's Shelley screaming her head off in that scene, that iconic scene when Jack Torrance, Wendy's husband, busts through the bathroom door with his axe. Okay, the weapon, as we'll call it from now on, the Zayin. Um, Look at her, and she's got a little weapon of her own. No match for this thing, though. Screaming her head off, and this is the accompanying image. So these two are the same basic moment. He busts in, and then he puts his face through this gap that he's just cut through the door with his axe, and he says his iconic line, "Here's Johnny." Okay, listen. Now, if you've been riding with me for however long, and you see I try to do a variety of videos. I was worried about this becoming the Shining channel. That's one of the reasons why I've been kind of branching out and doing other videos, like analyzing album covers and art movements and how to succeed as an artist. And I've been getting into Lolita lately, and Diego Velázquez and prehistoric art, because I don't want it to just be the Shining channel, but I got to come back to my roots, and I know what the people like. Okay, on this channel, I know what the people like. They like The Shining. And this might be one of the most, if not the very most iconic moment of the whole film. The part where Jack busts in with the axe. And again, at this point in the movie, Wendy has locked him in the dry food pantry. And somehow somebody lets him out, and he makes his way up to the caretaker's apartment. And he busts through, and it takes him quite a few swings with that axe to bust in through the door. And then, of course, when she's hiding from him in the bathroom, and I think she's like standing in the tub or whatever, and Danny just went out the window down that big ass pile of snow, and here she is screaming her head off, and he's busting through the door, and then this might be the very most iconic image of the whole movie. Jack Nicholson pressing his face up against this and saying, "Here's Johnny." What is going on here? And again, in the context of what I've been doing recently with The Shining, my recent ideas about the movie is really about, or one of the main things that it's really about, the summer of 42, as it says here. What's the summer of 42? What do I think Stanley meant when he put that movie in the movie, like when Danny and Wendy are watching it in the lobby, and the number 42 on Danny's arm? I think it's about the Manhattan Project, and I think the axe symbolizes the atomic bomb. And we saw, as I explained in one of these videos where I talk about 42, Oppenheimer, and the Manhattan Project, and is The Shining really about the caretaker? The caretaker would be Jack, and Jack would be representative of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who was the guy who was, I guess, managing the Manhattan Project. So Jack represents him, and this axe represents the atomic bomb. And those two little girls represent the only victims of the atomic bomb. They represent the cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And now Wendy is an intended target of this weapon. He doesn't quite make it. He doesn't quite get to the point where he kills her. Almost, though. And the thing that stops him from killing her is Halloran's arrival. If you've seen this movie and you're a Shining aficionado, you know. If you're a Shiner, you know the story and like why he doesn't succeed in killing Wendy or Danny. The two little girls are killed by an axe. And we know that because we see an axe next to their dead bodies in the hallway. Halloran is killed by the axe. What does he represent? I'm not entirely sure at this point, but I do have some ideas. Anyway, this is the first iconic moment of The Shining. Him busting through the door, her screaming her head off with the knife in her hand, and then him saying, "Here's Johnny." Again, was this another attempt? I mean, again, in my research, I have found that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were not the only two intended targets where they wanted to use the atomic bomb at the end of the Second World War. Okay? They weren't. There was depending on what I read, anywhere between 3 and 5 intended targets. The only two successful deployments of the A bomb were Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and that caused terrible destruction and death and misery, and that's represented by the two little girls. And what does Wendy represent? I don't know. I'm gonna have to do that in another video, but she might be she might represent one of the intended targets where they didn't go through with it, but they were thinking about it. So there's that. The iconic "Here's Johnny" and axe busting through the door scene. That's number... It doesn't matter what number it is. There's 15 of them. Here's the second one. Again, in no particular order. This is it. I talked about them just now. The twins. The Nagasaki and Hiroshima happen to be, as I just explained, they're the only two times that the bomb was used and successfully used. When I say successful, it means it was dropped and it exploded in these two locations. I don't mean it's a success as they did a good thing. No, it wasn't a good thing. But the twins that Danny sees at the end of this hallway in the staff wing of the hotel, they represent, in my opinion right now, they represent Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Okay? And there's Danny looking at them. And while I guess they're supposed to look like ghosts, but they're alive. They're alive, and they're speaking, and they say, come here, Danny, come play with us forever and ever and ever. And we see a gruesome and grisly picture of them, cut up, chopped by the axe that's right on the floor next to them, in puddles of their own blood, and there's blood splatter everywhere on the walls and everything. I believe they represent Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And as I explained in one of my prior videos regarding this topic, Nagasaki and Hiroshima were not only sister cities in Japan, they were also twin cities. So these girls are sisters, and they happen to be twins, okay? Regarding the flowers on the wall, I don't know. Regarding these two cabinets or closets or armoires that have to be held closed with twine, something's wrong with them, something's wrong with the latch or whatever on the doors, so they can't stay closed. The only way they can stay closed is to have them tied together. Maybe it represents some kind of secret. Well, the Manhattan Project was a secret. Okay, nobody knew about it until years later. And it didn't even have it wasn't even, I don't even know in the literature or the communications whether or not they even called it the Manhattan Project. They maybe had a secret code name for it. So they kept all of that under wraps, and they were developing the atomic bomb during the Second World War. During. Not before. Well, maybe, yeah, before. But the real heave-ho push started in the summer of 1942 in August. That was the official start date of the Manhattan Project. The research that went into the development of the atomic bomb happened way before August, summer of 42. And that happened in various places by various scientists and whatever, and their research was pooled together by the people who were doing the Manhattan Project. In order to, again, do the real push towards making the world's first nuclear weapon. So maybe these closets represent those secrets. I don't know. There's an exit sign. There's a fire bell. Oh, there's a lot going on, isn't there? But anyway, so that, like I said briefly, these two little girls, iconic image from this movie. This is not as iconic as this here, But all is pretty. It's up there. So again, like I said, the girls represent the Grady twins. I believe represent Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Moving on. This video might be shorter than I think. Oh, this people. Jack Torrance. And this is kind of an underrated part of the movie. Okay. This is the part of the movie after, the crazy woman in room 237 attacks Danny and tries to strangle her. And Wendy gets on Jack's ass about it and says, "Oh, you did this to him, you son of a bitch." And then she runs off with Danny. And Jack, after that exchange with Wendy, he goes to the gold room, and it's dark in there. He turns the lights on, and he sits down at the bar, and he says, I would sell my soul for just one glass of beer." And sure enough, Lloyd, the bartender, shows up, and this is when he says the line. He looks around when he sees Lloyd, and he says, he doesn't see Lloyd yet. No, he puts his head in his hands, and he says, I would sell my soul for just one beer. And then he looks around and he says, "Kind of slow tonight, isn't it, Lloyd?" And then he starts laughing maniacally. And then the camera turns around and there's Lloyd. Okay, that Lloyd wasn't there before. He shows up after Jack. So Jack Torrance says, "A little slow tonight, ain't it, Lloyd?" And this is kind of underrated. Again, this is the most iconic image from the movie, I think, hands down. This one also showcases Jack Torrance's teeth, or no, Jack Nicholson's teeth. He's laughing like a lunatic, and I'm still having a hard time figuring out why. What about, "Oh, kind of slow tonight, isn't it, Lloyd?" Like, what does Jack Torrance, the character, think is so funny about what he just said? And look at this face. Just like I said, only Shelley Duvall really could have done the Wendy character justice in this movie. Same thing with Jack Nicholson. Only Jack Nicholson really could have played this character. I can't imagine any other actor in this role. I know, like, Stephen King was pissed. He didn't like the choices of the actors. He didn't like that Jack Nicholson was playing Jack Torrance. It wasn't his decision to make at the end of the day. But, like, can you imagine anybody other than Jack Torrance playing... I'm sorry. Can you imagine anybody other than Jack Nicholson playing Jack Torrance? I cannot. Like, I think one of the names I heard was Robert De Niro. No. I'm sure De Niro probably would have done an okay job. He's not a bad actor. But Jack Nicholson is it for this movie. And again, this is the gold room. Lloyd shows up, pours him a glass of Jack Daniels, and they have their little exchange, which I'll get to in my Understanding the Shining series if you've been following my channel and watching what I do. Again, this is an iconic image, and it's kind of interesting. What is he really laughing at? His wife just accused him of trying to strangle the kid. This room might have to do with, like I've been talking about in the other videos, Colorado, because the movie is set in Colorado. This room might have to, it's called the Gold Room. And as I explained in the other video, Colorado was very important to the Manhattan Project, because most of the uranium that they needed for making the first nuclear weapon was mined in Colorado. And how was uranium discovered in Colorado? While they were mining for gold. Okay, so hence the Gold Room. All right, the Gold Room with its gold walls and this bar and those tables with the green felt top and the red couches Oh dear. Oh dear. Wait a minute. Green. Green. Oh Lord. Yeah, there's the, like, if you remember the movie, and you can see some of the tables in the background. They're blurry, but they are green, and they've got like those like fortune teller light bulbs on the top, like crystal ball kind of things. But they're green. That is one of the colors of uranium. Green. I've talked about it in another video too. And it's in these green tables that are glowing on top with the light bulbs. They're in the gold room. Like I said, the uranium, a lot of the uranium for the Manhattan Project came from Colorado. Is that what's going on? Is that what's so funny? Yeah. Is that what's so funny? Is that why Jack is laughing? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But it's really interesting. And again, the liquor that he served in this scene, Jack Daniels, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Jack is the Father, Daniel is the Son, and the liquor is the Spirit, I guess. So, what's going on? What's going on? Why is he laughing in the gold room? Again, gold and uranium go together in Colorado. Is that what's going? Is that the joke? Is that the joke? Not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes it's uranium, too. I don't know. Is that what's so funny? Y'all tell me in the comments. I can't wait to read them. Here's the next iconic image. I think we're on 1, 2, 3. This is number 4. After Wendy is running away from Jack, he busts through the door, does this. They hear Halloran show up, and then he goes downstairs to deal with Halloran. He abandons his mission of trying to kill Wendy with the axe, and he goes downstairs to deal with Halloran. Wendy goes running around the hotel looking for Danny, because remember, he went out the window. And then she, instead of going downstairs, which is what would make sense, no, she goes upstairs. And again, go to Richard's channel, Tancred of Tales. He does a pretty darn good video about this room number over here. And he puts forth his ideas about this room number. Go check it out. One of his very astute observations in that video is that this is the only room in the hotel, other than room 237. Out of all the doors we see in the hotel, other than room 237, this is the only one that has a number on it. Okay, go check his page out, or his channel. Go check out that video. Watch them all, like them all. Watch him twice. Give him as many views as possible. And here's what Wendy finds when she goes upstairs. She sees an open door with a light on in the room. And then there's the guy in the tuxedo and the guy in the bear costume. And they look like they're doing something inappropriate. And again, I don't use the language because YouTube always tries to get you. But I think you know what I mean. And this is an iconic image because it's so weird. It's just so out of left field compared to all the other images that we see. It's out of left field even compared to this. Even compared to this. It's like, what in the world is going on in this scene? And, what's going on is what you think is going on when you watch this. But why? Why? Why is Wendy seeing this? Is Wendy, again, what does she represent? Who does she represent in the world of the atomic bomb, Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer, the whole thing? What does she represent? I'm still working on that. But is this after Jack tries to kill her with the axe and breaks the door with the axe, does she finally see that Jack is not who she thought she was? I'm sorry, not who he thought she was. Yeah, not who he thought she was. Does she finally realize that? And when she's running through the hotel looking for Danny, the visions that Wendy sees, is this flashes of insight telling her who and what Jack really is? Is he, he's really the caretaker. So is the guy in the tuxedo representing Jack? And the guy in the bear, if it's a guy, we can't tell because, we can't It's a bear costume. Anybody could be in there. But whoever, the person in the bear, does that represent her, Wendy? Or does that represent, I don't know, Russia? Or Russian scientists also working on nuclear weapons? Is this a representation of the Cold War that was all about nuclear weapons and mutually assured destruction? Is that what we're seeing? I don't know. I really don't know. Also interesting, this is happening in the staff wing of the hotel, and there's a water cooler. I don't know. A bureau. There's a bureau. Oh shit, wait a minute. There's a bureau on the left side of this hallway and a water cooler on the right. You can go ahead and draw your own conclusions. I need to turn that over and over in my head for a little while before I start to get any like insight. But like I just said, this piece of furniture on the left side, it is referred to as a bureau. And there are other things, not furniture, but organizations or whatever that are referred to as bureaus. And it could be the obvious one, or it could not be. There's been a lot of bureaus over the years as organizations, as governmental organizations. Yeah, all kinds, all kinds. So got to think about that. You guys think about that too. Leave it in the comments. I love reading them. I love them all. So is that what's going on here? Is that what this iconic image means? Is this an inappropriate relationship between two nations that we thought were fighting? That we were told on the news every day during the Cold War, that we were told that they were fighting and hated each other the whole time, Russia or the USSR and the United States. We were told that those two governments were enemies, but they weren't really. They were doing whatever these two were doing here. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Okay, let me move on to the next image. So this one. What are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number. Wait a minute. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this number 5? I guess so. But this is what I wanted to touch upon. This is kind of a iconic image too. Red Rum, hello skis. Like that's a big deal in The Shining. The term, the word, Red Rum, and that Danny writes it with his mother's red lipstick, while holding the knife that she got from the kitchen when she locked Jack up in the pantry. And she's over here sleeping in Jack's robe, no less. And this lampshade on this lamp that's skewed, that's crooked. And he writes Red Rum. If you know the movie, you know what Red Rum means. I've mentioned it in other videos. Go ahead and watch all my videos to see if you're curious about what Red Rum means or what it might mean. It's iconic. It's a big part of the movie. It's what people remember about the movie, like the little play on words. Red Rum, which ends up, he's writing the word, that's how it's interpreted anyway, most of the time, that he's writing the word murder backwards. I don't know, but whatever. This is supposed to be maybe about Danny's psychic abilities that are termed the Shining or the Shine rather, by Dick Halloran. The one who gets killed by Jack later. I mean, if he's psychic, he should have seen that coming, right? If Halloran is psychic, he should have seen that coming, but he didn't. And there's so much going on with this movie. If you're new to this, if you're new to my channel, trust and believe I go through a lot of stuff in my videos. I've been doing this for over a year. I'm really heavy into it. I will figure it out. I've made a decision that I'm gonna do whatever I can to figure out this movie and what Stanley Kubrick is really trying to say. So Red Rum, extremely iconic, and he's holding, again, the knife while writing it. What's going on? Why is he writing it? In the context of possibly what I believe Stanley Kubrick is really telling us about the Manhattan Project, the development of the atomic bomb, and the people, the characters, the situations that went into the development. What could this be? Like, who is Danny? Is Danny an intended target, one of the intended targets of the bomb? Or is he a whistleblower? I don't know. I don't know. And but something is telling me he's warning Wendy. You know, that's what this turns out to be. This scene when he writes Red Rum backwards, and he starts saying, Danny, the kid, starts saying Red Rum over and over and over again, to the point where it wakes Wendy up. And she wakes up and she sits up in bed and she takes the knife from him, and then she hugs him, and then she looks in the mirror on the vanity opposite the bed, and she sees the reflection of this door with Red Rum written on it. And she sees in the reflection, it doesn't say Red Rum, it says murder. So Danny is warning her about maybe Jack is on his way, and his intention is to do to Danny and Wendy what the previous caretaker did to those girls, the Grady twins. So if he knows, if Danny knows, then how does he know? Is it his psychic ability? Is that why he knows what Jack's intentions are, or is it something else? I don't know. I don't know, but it's something we need to look at. Next slide. Well, I kind of covered this in one of my videos already. Which slide is that? Which number is this? Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 6. Okay, so the black and white photo at the end of the movie where Jack seems to be magically transported back to 1921 at the Overlook Hotel at the July 4th ball. I'm going to have to do a whole video about this picture. I am. But again, I do believe it has something to do with the Manhattan Project. July 4th, 1921. There's a couple of possibilities in my mind as to what this might mean. And Jack being there, the caretaker. If Jack, the caretaker in the movie Jack Torrance, if, as I believe, he represents J. Robert Oppenheimer, the quote-unquote caretaker of the Manhattan Project, okay, cool. You know, that if that's what's going on, and that's what I believe is going on, then what is this? Why is Jack representing Oppenheimer at the 4th of July ball at the Overlook Hotel in Colorado on July 4th, 1921? I already covered it in the previous video. But in the year 1921, Oppenheimer would have been a teenager. He would have just graduated high school. And during that summer in 1921, his father took the family on a trip to a place in Czechoslovakia that is very well known for mining. And Oppenheimer was, J. Robert Oppenheimer was an enthusiast when it came to mining all kinds of minerals. It seems like he was especially interested in uranium, even at the time, even in 1921. And so on July 4th, or around this time in 1921, that's where Oppenheimer was. He was in a Czechoslovakian mining town while his father was doing business of whatever kind. I don't know. His father is kind of shady when you look at the biographies and whatever. But Oppenheimer himself was, he was taking advantage of the trip to indulge in his passion for mineralogy. Okay, cool. So, and again, the place where he was, I think it was called Joachimsthal, at the time Czechoslovakia, or now the Czech Republic. It's very well known for mining, but not just any kind of mining. It's very well known for uranium. Very, very, very well known for uranium. And Joachimsthal in the Czech Republic is where it was one of the main sources for uranium in the 1940s. I'm just saying. There's another potential explanation that also has to do with the development of the atomic bomb and the scientists who helped to do that. But I'm going to save that for another video. So let's keep it pumping. Let's go. This. So this was number 6. Now we're on number 7. We're almost halfway there. This is when uh, let me hold on for a second. Okay, this is Jack's in the Colorado Lounge. He falls asleep at his writing desk with his head on the table. He starts bellowing. Wendy comes up from the boiler room to see what's wrong, and he falls out of the chair. Wendy helps him up, and he tells her about his nightmare. That's why he was yelling in his sleep. And he had a nightmare where he killed Wendy and Danny, and he didn't just kill them, he chopped them up into little bits and pieces with an axe. And Wendy said, "Oh, it's going to be okay. It was just a bad dream." And then in comes Danny with his sweater torn and strangle marks on his neck. And first, Wendy tells him to leave because she can't see him very well because he's far away. And then when Danny won't listen to her, she goes over to him and she sees the strangle marks, the bruises on his neck. And she says, "What happened?" Danny's like in a catatonic state. He can't speak. He's stuck at his thumb. And Wendy picks him up and she looks at Jack, who just woke up from his bad dream about killing both of them. And she says to him, "You did this. You did this to him, you son of a bitch." And Jack looks confused. He looks confused. This does not look like fake confusion to me. This does not look like Jack, is guilty of hurting Danny. And he knows that Wendy is right about "you did this to him, you son of a bitch." And he's just pretending to not know what she's talking about. No, this looks like he really is confused. And he really doesn't know like what Wendy is talking about or why she would accuse him of hurting Danny. This looks like genuine confusion, shock, whatever. And why is that? Again, if Jack represents J. Robert Oppenheimer, the caretaker, I guess the manager, whatever you want to call him, of the Manhattan Project, and Danny is an intended, or Danny might also represent an intended target of the atomic bomb that they never went through with. Maybe they never went through with it, but like they messed with that country or that nation or whatever. I don't know. There's probably plenty of shit that the higher ups did with regard to the Manhattan Project that Oppenheimer knew nothing about. I believe that Oppenheimer was there not because he was like this awesome scientist. No. And he was allegedly put in charge of running, or even he thought he was in charge of running the thing. Maybe he was there as the caretaker of the Manhattan Project. And maybe J. Robert Oppenheimer didn't really know what he got himself into. That's my suspicion. And there were the higher-ups, maybe represented by characters like Ullman and Bill Watson or whatever in the movie. But they know what's really going on. Like Leslie Groves, I think he was General Leslie Groves, in relation to I think Leslie Groves was the one who really knew what was really going on. And maybe Oppenheimer knew some stuff, but he didn't know everything. Just like Jack in the movie knows some stuff, but he doesn't really know everything. And again, this role that Jack is playing in the movie, the Jack Torrance character, that's what he says. He says, "Oh, I'm going to love the peace and quiet for, however many months alone at the hotel. It gives me a great opportunity to work on my novel." And then we're going to see in the movie, he's not writing any novel. Okay, but at the same time, he thinks he knows why he's there. Jack thinks he knows why he's there, to be the caretaker of the hotel. Is that really why? Or is the real caretaker somebody that we can't see? Or that we don't even know about? Or whatever. I don't know. And maybe that's why this look of absolute and utter shock, confusion, disbelief, whatever. That's why the Jack Torrance character is showing this look here. He just doesn't know what the hell Wendy is talking about when she says "you did this to him." And again, this is all of these characters are representations of various people or various situations to do with the Manhattan Project. That's my opinion at this point. Let's move it on. Okay, what number are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's number 7. Let's move on to number 8. Oh boy. Oh Lord. Um Here it is. You know I couldn't not mention this scene. Okay, this is the scene in the bathroom in the gold room, like the gentleman's room. This waiter, also named Grady, spills some avocado, which happens to be yellow in color. That's another color of uranium, by the way. Uranium, it's got all kinds of different colors. Sometimes it looks just like fool's gold and it's all sparkly, as a raw mineral. And then it's also green, and then it's also yellow. I think it might also be red sometimes, but I have to check. And anyway, they're in here to clean Jack's jacket. You can even see the little bit of yellow on the jacket where he spills the avocado on him. And they get into this conversation, and Jack has this, what he believes is a gotcha moment. And he happens to be facing a mirror. But he says to Grady, "Oh no, Mr. Grady, I know about you. I know that you killed your wife and your 2 daughters and whatever." And Grady says he has no memory of that ever happening. And Jack says, "Well, aren't you the caretaker?" And he says, "No, Mr. Torrance, you're the caretaker. And you've always been the caretaker." And Grady says, "And I should know because I've always been here." Okay. In the context of what I said, what I believe, one of the things, maybe one of the main things that this movie is really about, I think Stanley Kubrick is really telling us the story about the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer, Leslie Groves, whoever else, and the development of the first, and the development and the deployment of the first atomic bomb, or the first 2 on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and maybe the other intended targets that they didn't go through with. I think this Grady, is a superior of Jack's. Again, Jack representing Oppenheimer. And Jack doesn't know it. Because this guy has always been here, so Jack is new. But he says to him, "You've always been the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker." What does that mean? Was Oppenheimer a part of this stuff way before the official start date in August 1942? And he was always the caretaker, going back to, wait a minute, hold on. Where's the thing? Going back to 1921. He's always been the caretaker. And look, there's a picture of him in the hotel, allegedly. The hotel in 1921. And Grady says to him, "You've always been the caretaker." So that trip that his father took him on in 1921 to the Czech Republic, was that part of the Manhattan Project too? When Oppenheimer was just out of high school, he was 17 years old? Was that part of the Manhattan? Was he looking for uranium for the development of nuclear weapons that far back? Or is that what Oppenheimer's father was really doing? Because like I said, Oppenheimer's father is a shady dude. I double ding dong diddly dare you to find any serious, meaningful information about J. Robert Oppenheimer's father. It's not easy. I've tried. So is that what they were? Is that the business trip that Oppenheimer's father was on in Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic in 1921, right after Oppenheimer graduated high school? It just happened to be in a place that is well known, even at the time was well known for having plenty of uranium. Oh boy, I don't know, but this is it. And Jack, he thinks he's gonna outsmart Grady, and Grady's like, "Oh no, you don't. Oh no, don't even try. Don't even try with those eyebrows of yours to try and tell me that you know something. I'm the one who knows. Grady's like, no, no, I'm the one who knows everything. And the exchange between these two in this bathroom is very odd. Even in the movie, even for this movie, is odd. And again, is this something to do with the Manhattan Project or like the history leading up? Like I said, the Manhattan Project didn't just begin out of the clear blue sky in August 1942. That's the official start date. Summer of 1942 is the official start date, but a lot of stuff had to happen for that official start date of summer of 1942 to happen. Okay, a lot of stuff had to happen leading up to that date. Is this one of the things? Is this representing one of the things? The fact that Jack is completely ignorant about a lot of stuff that Grady is not ignorant about because he's always been there and he should know. Oh Lord. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's go on to number 9. Oh shit. I put this in. I'm not going to dwell on this one, but this is oh shit. Hold on. No, this. Okay, let me do a little switcheroo. Okay, this happens and then this happens. Okay, so I was going to talk about this later. I said in no particular order, didn't I? So actually, let me switch it around now. This picture of Wendy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is number 9. All right, this picture of Wendy discovering in the Colorado Lounge that Jack has not been writing any novel. She goes in there. Again, this is after Danny has somebody try to strangle him and the whole thing. And Jack has already been in room 237 at this point. And I'm trying to remember whether or not like Halloran has been activated yet at this point in the movie. I can't remember right now. But anyway, Wendy goes into the Colorado Lounge, and Jack has told her not to ever come in there. And she does it anyway. She disobeys him. So there's something in there that he doesn't want her to see, which is precisely what she's looking at now. His novel, his alleged novel. There ain't no novel. It's just him typing the same phrase over and over and over again on this yellow paper. Oh, Lord, there goes that yellow again. Yellow, green, both colors of uranium. Anyway, so she's looking at this and realizing that Jack, her husband, is completely insane. Or at least that's what we're led to believe in the movie. That's the surface narrative. Jack is crazy. He's not a writer. He's not doing any work in here. Whatever he's doing in the Colorado Lounge is not writing a novel. Let's just put it that way. And Oppenheimer's wife, if you read a little bit about her, oh my, she was different. I'm not going to go into detail. That's for another video, for another time. But Oppenheimer's wife, she was different. She had her own problems. Let's just put it that way. But, maybe his wife didn't know. Maybe Oppenheimer's wife didn't know about what he was working on in the 40s. Who knows? Who knows? I think she was a biologist, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look it up and do a video some other time. And this is the part where Wendy realizes, we're led to believe, the audience, where this is the point where Wendy realizes that Jack is crazy. Again, that contradicts this, where Jack doesn't seem to really have a good grasp of what's going on. And here too, he doesn't have a really good grasp of what's going on either. He think he can do a gotcha moment on Grady, and Grady flips that around on him real quick. Okay, but Wendy realizes that something is very wrong with her husband. Whatever it is, we're never really Jack's like insanity is never really explained in the movie. Like, whatever kind of insanity, they don't tell us. Stanley doesn't tell us. Like, is he borderline? Is he antisocial? Is he schizo? No. He's just, general, general insanity, I guess. And his novel is supposed to be ample evidence of that insanity. I don't think so. I think it's a representation that whatever Jack says he's doing there is not what he's really doing there. He says he's taking advantage of being the caretaker to write a novel. No, there ain't no novel. There ain't no novel. And Wendy realizes that. So this is an iconic moment. And if you watch the movie, her facial expressions during this scene are just everything. Okay, and then we go on to this, and Jack walks in, finds her there, and he says, "How do you like it?" You know, referring to his novel, and they have their exchange, and she backs away with him, and she takes the baseball bat with her. Okay, and they get up these stairs, and this is the part where Jack says, "Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm gonna bash your brains in." And this is that iconic scene. Again, Jack Nicholson's acting in this movie. Nobody. I mean, I don't know what I haven't read about his personal life very much, and I don't know if I want to know. But him as an actor, he's a living legend. He's an icon. No, I don't think anybody could do. I don't think anybody could do this but him. Nobody else could play Jack Torrance in this movie the way Jack Nicholson did. The range of emotions and expressions and moods, and he just seems to create a whole. Nicholson just seems to like influence the atoms in the air around him. It's just weird. So and speaking of atoms, yeah. So here he is. This is, again, he's trying to kill her. This is when she realizes, this scene, this plus this, is when Wendy realizes that she's in danger. Okay, if she doesn't do something, it's gonna, you know, that'll be the end of her if she doesn't put a stop to him. So, again, in the context of Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project, what does this mean? Does Wendy represent Oppenheimer's wife? And, again, Oppenheimer's wife, you can read the bio on Wikipedia. She was an alcoholic. And she had, I think also, reading her biography, I think she had some mental health issues too. Were those mental health issues just organic? Or were they a result of living with a man like J. Robert Oppenheimer, who was involved in all of this Manhattan Project stuff and all the secrecy and all the scandal and whatever? Did that do a number on her? Or was I don't know. I don't know what to think. But she's in danger and she needs to stop it. Being close to him is dangerous for her. He obviously, in the movie, he obviously wants to hurt her. She needs to do something about that. If she doesn't, he's going to kill her. So, again, what does that mean? And I'm going to work on it. I promise you I will. But I know it does mean something. At this point, my intuition is telling me it does mean something and have to do with the Manhattan Project. Okay. Where are we at now? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we go with number 11. All this shit. Okay. All right. And again, this is from the cut of the movie that has the pink ball rather than the yellow one. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But this carpet, this is what I wanted you to see. Again, I described this carpet in my other movie, the hexagons. Hexagons are the basis for organic chemistry. And this is the hallway right outside of room 237. I explained that in my other video. 237 is the atomic weight of neptunium, and that is the halfway point. You need uranium to make neptunium, and neptunium is, again, atomic mass 237, and you need neptunium in order to make plutonium, which is what's used for, I think, ultimately the fuel of the atomic bomb. And again, the hexagons, I think that Stanley put them here to represent organic chemistry, because the people who developed the atomic bomb, all those scientists, they were either chemists or physicists. And they for sure were very well aware of the study of organic chemistry. And you need to know organic chemistry in order to understand elements like uranium, neptunium, plutonium. What's the other one? Radium, I think. I'm not sure. But all of this stuff, you need to know organic chemistry in order to conquer a task like making the first nuclear weapon. Okay, so this is a big deal. What these little trucks and everything mean, this might be the activity around some kind of nuclear reactor. Maybe the ball represents, I don't know, uranium. Maybe Danny himself. Oh, hold on. This is what I wanted to talk about. I'll talk about this again, but I'll mention it briefly here. Everybody and a mama has always been talking about, like, oh, Danny's wearing an Apollo 11 sweater in this scene, and how that means that Stanley Kubrick directed the Apollo landing. That they didn't really go to the moon, that it was just in a studio, and Stanley Kubrick was the director of the whole thing. Listen, I simply don't subscribe to that theory, and I'll tell you why. Because his daughter, Vivian, went on record and said no, her father had nothing to do with anything like that. And that's all I needed to hear. That's it for me. I'm done. All right? That's all I need to know. His daughter said it, and that's gospel for me. Right? Now, that's one thing. But you might be asking, okay, Miss M, but why is he wearing the Apollo 11 sweater? Because the Apollo 11 spaceship went to the moon, and it was a whole big thing, and whatever. Listen, let me tell you, it has to do with uranium. Once again, is it uranium or Neptune? I'm not sure. But one of those elements, one of those atomic elements that went into making the atomic bomb, guess where they found some of that? On the moon. During the Apollo 11 mission, they brought back moon rocks or moon dust. When they tested the moon rocks or the moon dust, guess what they found? Uranium, or one of those. Is it uranium? Or no, neptunium. Neptunium. Yes, I think it was neptunium. I have to check and make a video about it later. But and why is that significant? Because you shouldn't be able to find neptunium anywhere. Neptunium is created through a process of decay. It's called beta decay. And you need the raw material for that is uranium. And uranium is, and I don't know what they do to it. I don't know what these chemists and physicists do to this stuff, but they do something that causes it to decay into neptunium with the atomic weight of 237. And neptunium should never exist anywhere in a natural state. It's something that it's something that is a product of a process, the beta decay process. And the fact that they found it on the moon is interesting, to say the least. That's why he's wearing the Apollo 11 sweater, y'all. That's what's going on. Don't ever, please, that I'm putting my foot down. Please don't tell me that Stanley Kubrick directed the moon landing. That's not why Danny is wearing the Apollo 11 sweater. Okay? So now I told you about that. I told you about this carpet. Now let's go on to the next one. I'm going to stop. At this point, I'm not even going to count anymore. 15, 14. Okay, this is number 12. This thing. The blood. The blood. What? This is possibly, again, it's right up there with this. As far as iconic images or iconic moments from the movie, the blood spouting elevator is a big deal. Okay, it's what a lot of people think of when they think of this movie. And again, does this ever happen in real life in the movie? No. Every single time we see the blood with the elevator coming out of it, it's during somebody's vision, whether it's Danny's or Wendy's. vision. And the blood has so much force, like the torrent of blood has so much force that it actually moves this chair. It moves the furniture in this hallway. What does it represent? This blood is very, very red, and it's coming from elevator doors that are also very, very red. I don't know what this means. I really don't. But this is happening, I think, on the ground floor of the hotel. There's some radiators, so that's Stanley's shout out to David Lynch. Remember Eraserhead? There's these, again, crown looking chandeliers, and I've explored those in another video too. They have to do with tagin, which is a special way of marking certain letters in the Hebrew alphabet when they're used in the in a Sefer Torah. Okay. But like, what's going? And look at all this damn blood. What is this? And what does it have to do with the Manhattan Project and these awful, ugly plaid couches? Okay, maybe they're not so ugly, but like, they're very outdated. Okay, and maybe the plaid of these couches, these seats, chairs, has something to do with the Manhattan Project. Maybe this is just the blood spilled of all the people in all of these wars unnecessarily, and the activities of the people working on the Manhattan Project. All of the generals, all the scientists, all of the, whatever. All the intention of all of that was to kill people, to create a hideous weapon, and the only reason for that weapon, the atomic bomb, to exist is not just to kill people, but kill huge amounts of people in seconds. That's the point of the Manhattan Project. Like I said, the research that was done prior to the official start date of the Manhattan Project, the summer of 42, those people, those scientists working on all these radioactive elements or whatever, they were trying to help people. They were trying to work on, like, medical technology to help people with, again, radioactive materials and diagnostic imaging and all kinds of applications that could actually help people. And their work was taken, their research, their study was taken and applied to the creation of an instrument of death. That's disgusting. I think Stanley agrees. Maybe that's what all this blood is about. I don't know. I have to work on it. I had a theory about, like, maybe this is about the birthing process. And like when we see this image, we also see an image of Danny screaming. Maybe that's a metaphor for Danny's birth. And Wendy is the mother. And Danny sees this and Wendy sees this. Jack doesn't see this. Of course he doesn't. He's the father. He's the father, but he doesn't, like, as far as the birthing process is going, that's as far as the birthing process goes, that's the mom and the baby. That's who's exposed to or who witnesses all of this blood. I don't know what to think at this point, but there it is for now. For now. Okay, that's what I got. I'm going to have to analyze this a little bit more, but I'll do that when I get to this part of the movie. So there's that. Here is, lucky number 13, the bathroom in room 237. Again, uranium green all over. Uranium green lined, look at this, trimmed with uranium yellow. Oh, Lord. And this is a bathroom. This is a bathroom. And there's this funky, like, light fixture on the ceiling that I need to address when we get to this scene. I don't know how I'm going to get this past the censors because, like, there's nudity in this scene. So I'm just going to have to skip over the part where you can see all the ladies' business and just analyze, the design elements of this room. And I just noticed that this toilet doesn't have a water closet. Jesus Christ. Look at this thing. Usually a toilet has a tank on the back of it where it holds the water and, like, that's where the water flows from to flush the toilet. This one doesn't have that. Okay, let me not worry about that now. But like I just explained to you in, was it here or here or here? No, I think it was here. I told you that the materials that went into making the atomic bomb are created. They don't occur naturally. Neptunium doesn't occur naturally. Plutonium doesn't occur naturally. They are created through the process that is called beta decay. And I've explained that in other videos. Now, the lady that's behind this curtain, the shower curtain, in this bathtub, she gets up. Jack is in here. They get to kissing. She's young and she's beautiful and she's naked. And they get to kissing. And then all of a sudden, Jack realizes, when he's looking in the mirror once again, he realizes that something's wrong. Something's wrong with her body. And she is magically gone from being a young, attractive, naked woman to an old, unattractive, naked woman. But not just old and unattractive, but also her body is rotting. Also known as decaying in his arms. So uranium, I guess, when this lady that we see in the scene, she gets up out of the bathtub. When she's young and she's beautiful, she's uranium. When she's old and decayed and rotting, she's either neptunium or plutonium. I'm not sure which. Both of those have an isotope that has an atomic mass of 237. So, whatevs. And they're both the product of beta decay. Okay? So that woman represents uranium decaying into neptunium, and then possibly even further decaying into uranium decaying into neptunium, and then maybe even further decaying into to become plutonium. Possibly. Am I right? Am I sure? No, I'm not sure. I'm not. But that's where I'm at right now. That's what's going on. Okay, so second to last one. Oh Lord. Again, this is a continuation of not this over here. Okay, Wendy running through the hotel. First she finds these two. Okay, whatever the hell's going on here. And then she finds this guy. This is down on the bottom floor. And she's running through all these service hallways and in the surrounding the lobby of the Overlook. And she runs into this guy. She's creeping around here looking for Danny. And possibly also looking for Jack to make sure that he isn't going to come for her again. And then she turns around and she sees this guy. And she has no reason to turn around. She doesn't hear any noise or anything. I guess her gut just tells her to turn around. And she sees this dude. And he says, "Great party, isn't it?" And he happens to have a glass of liquor. We assume that this is liquor. And it happens to be red. Can you see it? It's like, it's probably rum. It's probably red rum. But it's a red liquid. Okay, maybe, is it blood red? But yeah, it's pretty red. Like, look at this. And he's got this crack running down his head and his face. Is this guy supposed to represent Jack? Because she bopped him on the head with the baseball bat in, no. Yeah, no. In this scene, Wendy bops him on the head with the baseball bat, and it causes a wound on his head that kind of extends down to his forehead. And now we have this dude and the wound on his head is very similar to what Wendy does to Jack on his head. Is this another caretaker? I don't know. I just don't know. He's wearing a tuxedo. Very similar to Jack in this. Can't find it now. Yeah, in this picture. Right? Is this Jack? And is this Jack too? Just an older version? I don't know. And he says, "Great party, isn't it?" He's referring to the party in the gold room. Hello. That Jack was at before he went into the. Oh Lord, hold on. Before he went into the bathroom to have his little talk with Lloyd, there's a party going on in the 20s, no less. That's what the fashions tell us. And there's a party in the Gold Room, and he's walking around in these clothes, but like mentally he's there. And that's when Grady spills the avocado on him. And oh Lord, wait a minute, is the great party? So he's referring to the party that Jack was at in the Gold Room. What does that party have to do? If I'm right about this Manhattan Project thing, if I'm right about, like, yeah, summer of 42 means Manhattan Project, then what's up with that party in the Gold Room? Y'all. And this guy's saying great party, isn't it? What is that party celebrating? In 1921. July. Is that the, oh Lord. Is this the party in the Gold Room that Jack was at? Is it a 4th of July party? Ay, ay, ay. What's going on? And if it's a 4th of July party, okay, Oppenheimer was in Czechoslovakia looking for uranium, but he's holding a glass of liquor. Please don't forget that at this time in history there was prohibition. I don't know if it just got started in 1921. I'm going to have to look it up. But on July 4th, 1921, like a couple of interesting things happened. In addition to Oppenheimer, he happened to be in Yakimstal in the Czech Republic, or Yakimov, I think, is it Yakimov? I think both of those names are for the same place, but one is like the German name and the other one is the Czech name. Gonna have to take a better look. But Oppenheimer in July of 1921, that's where he was, looking for freaking uranium. But there were some things that happened on American soil, specifically on July 4th, 1921. I need to do a video about it. Okay, one of those things has to do with prohibition, and this guy is just flagrantly violating the laws of the land and having his little liquor. So, like, was the Overlook Hotel a freaking speakeasy, or just illegally serving alcohol? Because look at this picture. Like when they're photographed, oh my God, this is interesting, right? None of these people has a glass in their hand in this picture, and this is a big ass party. And you would expect at least somebody to have a cocktail or some champagne or something. And again, I know they said 4th of July, but this looks like a New Year's party to me because of the blow tickler thing that's usually associated with New Year's. But what do I know? I don't see any Christmas trees or anything. But I haven't completely figured this out yet, but something is telling me that we need to be aware of the fact that prohibition was going on in the 20s, 1921, in the United States. And this guy is just having a drink. And he happens to have a bigger wound, but in the same location where Wendy cracked him with the bat. I'm just saying. Okay, and here's the last and final one. I said in no particular order. But since we're talking about liquor, here he is. Lloyd. Lloyd the bartender. And again, his presence just don't make no sense. He shouldn't be there. He happens to be in front of Jack when he's facing the mirror behind the bar. And he says, "What'll it be, Mr. Torrance?" When, when Jack says, "Slow night, isn't it, Lloyd?" Right. Okay, so look at all this liquor behind him. Look at all those bottles and glasses and what have you. Happens to also be the jacket that Lloyd is wearing. Happens to also be the same color as the jacket that Jack is wearing. What's going on? What is going on? I don't know what's going on. If I knew, then, like, I don't know. I would be a super genius if I could figure this out, but I'm not, so it's taking me time. What is up with Lloyd? We always forget, like, the iconic moments lists of this movie. They always kind of overlook Lloyd. No, Lloyd deserves more attention. Here he is. I don't know what to make of Lloyd. He just shows up when Jack says that he would sell his soul for a glass of beer. Is Lloyd supposed to represent the devil? And if he is the devil, he seems to be a reflection of Jack because they're wearing the same color and the same article of clothing, the burgundy red or blood red jacket. I don't know. Y'all tell me. And Lloyd looks like he's been through it. Looks like he's been through a lot. And Lloyd looks like he also knows something that Jack doesn't. That's what permeates the exchange between him and Jack, just like the exchange between Jack and Grady. Grady knows something that he's not telling Jack. Lloyd knows something that he's not telling Jack, too. They both look at him like he's some kind of chump, like he's some kind of patsy, and he has no idea. Is that what was going on with J. Robert Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project? Was J. Robert Oppenheimer basically a patsy, and he had no idea? He was given that job not because he was really all that intelligent. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't intelligent, but that's not why he got the job as the caretaker of the Manhattan Project. Did Oppenheimer get the job managing the Manhattan Project, not because of his intellect or because of his experience or whatever, but because he was a smart cookie? Maybe Oppenheimer got that job because he was the exact opposite of a smart cookie. Maybe he was incredibly naive and incredibly stupid in his own way, and maybe he was just a very well-connected person. Oppenheimer's family was filthy, filthy, filthy rich. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, they were. His parents, his father, was seriously, seriously wealthy. Most people probably don't know that about him, but oh yeah, we're going to get into it in future videos, I promise you. And maybe Oppenheimer got the job just because maybe his father or his family connections shoehorned him into that job as caretaker of the Manhattan Project, and he didn't really know what was going on. Maybe Oppenheimer was just the public face of the Manhattan Project after they could talk about it publicly. But, he really didn't do much as far as strategy or whatever, as far as the organizational part of it. I don't know. But all of these characters, like Lloyd, Grady, Ullman, Watson, go back to the interview scene, look at the way Watson is looking at Jack. Oof. They all know something that they're not telling him. It seems obvious to me, anyway. And Lloyd also seems, like I said, he seems like he knows something he's not telling Jack. He's not going to tell Jack. He's just going to give him his little liquor. Get him a little glass with some ice. Pour some Jack Daniels in there. And call it a day. And they all know he's an alcoholic. Oh, Lord. Or no, they don't know he's an alcoholic, but Wendy does, right? Allegedly, he's an alcoholic. That we got to figure this shit out. But they're plying him with alcohol. Lloyd is, anyway. And he's plying him with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit alcohol, Jack Daniels. Oh, Lord. What's going on? You guys, so this is it. I won't take up any more of your time. This is the top 15. My picks for the top 15 iconic moments from moments, images from The Shining, and what I believe that they mean. Okay, I did it. I've done it. Whatever. Can't wait to hear what you all have to say in the comments. I know this is kind of a low production quality video. That's how I do things. Let me know what you think. Again, returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you feel like doing it. And that's it. I can't wait for the comments. I know that I've got to get into it. I'm going to do a viewer mail pretty soon too. I really want to get back into David Lynch and Twin Peaks, and I will. Just give me a couple of days, and we shall see. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single last view. They all mean very much to me. So much to me. And again, congratulations to Richard and Mrs. Richard. And that's it for today. So until next time, you guys. Until the next time when I find yet another reason to talk at you in one of these videos, I'm going to go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.